Hello, Dale from HiFi. I finally got an integrated amp, and today I'm going to unveil which model I finally chose. So if you've been following me, you know that about 2 months ago I sold off all my separates. I had a really nice system, but I wanted to downsize, have a more attractive audio rack, and I'm going to do some changes to my room down here to make it a little less cluttered. A week and a half ago, I put a down payment on a Macintosh 8950 with a local Macintosh dealer. But the morning I was going to go pick it up, pay it off, that dealer called me and said they made a mistake. That unit was for somebody who ordered it previously, and the stock guy was unaware of that when I inquired about it. So, no biggie. I figured, hey, the right one will come. That wasn't meant to be. I'm an impatient person, but on purchases like this, I've always been patient because the right one will come around eventually. You just got to be patient, and it did. I contacted Hudson Valley HiFi in New York State, and they had a demo open box amp, and this integrated amp is one I really, really wanted. But after contacting a few other dealers about it, the price was just a little bit out of my reach, and talking to Mike at Hudson Valley, we came to a deal, and I'm really, really happy. Now, I haven't had a chance to plug it in and listen to it yet. Things have been busy with my business, and then we had the Mother's Day weekend here, and a whole bunch of things going on. So, and I had to rig up my rack here. I had to tear this rack down and try to make it into 2 racks until I get a permanent rack that I'm happy with. I had to go to Lowe's and rig up some bolts and stuff, but it's going to work for the time being. So now I'm going to unveil this amp, and I think this amp's going to satisfy me for quite a while. If it doesn't, I think my value is going to be decent on the used market. Of course, you're always going to take a hit, just like a car, but like cars, some brands like Toyota, Lexus, Hondas, whatever, they hold their value a little better versus a Chevy or Ford or a Chrysler. And I think that's what I got here. Something that's going to hold its value a little better, and if I decide to sell or change it down the road, I'm not going to take as big of a dive. So with all that, here's the amplifier I got. It's the Luxman L595 ASE. Limited edition, only 300 made worldwide, only 100 that was available here in the United States. It's got everything I want, a great phono pre. Doesn't have a built-in DAC, which I'm fine. I'm fine with using the DAC I got. The thing is heavy. The fit and finish, the quality of the knobs, it's just wonderful. If you go look at Steve Guttenberg's Audiophiliac review of this, I think last September, he said I'm paraphrasing, he really never have seen an amp built quite as nice and detailed as this thing. I mean, this volume knob is finely machined. All these knobs are. I got number 40 of 300. It's got a plate in the back. And this thing I got, I mean, it doesn't even look like it's been played. The power cord bag, and the instruction bag, and the remote box hasn't been opened or used. So what a lot of these dealers do, they put them in their demo room. They just plug in whatever power cord they have so they don't have to keep fishing cables in and out. And they probably don't use the remotes because they end up getting lost. So I'm tickled to death to try this thing out. I'm hoping to maybe hook it up late tonight and see what it sounds like. I'm not thinking it will need a lot of break-in. Now, Mike over at Hudson Valley HiFi didn't tell me how much he played it or whatever. If it needs some break-in, I'll run it for a while. But it's probably been played for a few hours, at least on display, at least when he first got it. So, really, really happy with this thing. This thing is heavy. The amp itself is 70 pounds, but I think Luxman, who double boxes everything, I think it's 20 pounds worth of cardboard. I mean, it was layer after layer, then foam, and then another cardboard box on top. I mean, it was really impressive how it was packed. So with that, my plan is to get this thing hooked in tonight or tomorrow and start listening to it. And my plan is to do a formal review next Sunday and have it up. And I'm really, really excited about this thing. And I think it's an attractive looking amplifier. It's got the 70s Luxman retro look to it, but everything's functional. All the buttons are here. It's got a balance control. And a balance control is very important to me. And that's the one thing about past integrateds that turned me off the most was, I always get an amplifier or any component I'm interested in. I download the owner's manual and look through it. And if you look at the past, the pictures on their website, it shows the remote control. It says balance. And, I don't care if the balance control's on here or if it's on the remote, what have you, but I like to have the option because when I'm adjusting my speakers, I can turn one, use my little meter, and flip it over instead of just unplugging speakers. And the past labs, you look in the owner's manual, it says balance control is not operational on the integrated amps. So what it is, they give you the preamp, their past preamp remote control, where the balance control works on their preamps. But according to the instruction manual, now, they may work, maybe some firmware upgrades. Go ahead and correct me below, but it doesn't work. So I'm thinking, why even put it on the remote? Or why not just include it? I mean, it's probably just a firmware thing, I would think. But anyway, I don't know. I'm not an electronics engineer. It has a mono button, which is important for me for mono records. A loudness button, which is why I got that shit audio equalizer a few months back. I could boost up the bass a little bit for late night listening so I don't have to wake up the house because I like a full body sound. This loudness button takes care of that. It's got a straight line switch where it bypasses any tone controls. It's got tone controls where if I want to, I've got a bad recording, which there's lots of bad recordings that it's bright or harsh. I can, make some changes here. Plenty. It's got moving coil and moving magnet inputs. And 2 sets of speakers if I wanted to have 4 speakers. That's the thing that was big in the 70s and 80s in the old receivers. You had speaker A, speaker B. And at one time, when I was living at home in high school, I had 4 speakers hooked up. And, I liked it at the time. That's probably not something I'm going to do now, but you never know. And, it's got balance line input, single-winded. I'd show you the back, but I'll put a picture up here. But this sucker's heavy, so I don't feel like turning it around. I'm really, really happy looking at it. I'm sure I'm going to be happy with it playing it. It's 30 watts Class A. My past labs was 25 watts Class A. And it would blow you, the past labs J2 would blow, or the first watt J2 would blow you out of the room because my speakers are, 100 decibel efficient. So this thing is 30 watts, plus I believe it's measured to go up even a lot higher. I think I could be wrong on this, I think the 590 AX2, which is a similar setup to this. This is kind of a lot nicer chassis and some upgraded parts and stuff. I think after 30 watts, it goes up to like 60 some watts, but it kicks into Class A-B, which is fine, but I'm probably not going to even need that. But I think this may do the same thing, but we'll see. Anyway, I finally got my amp. I'm super happy. I'm super excited. Now I've got to get some type of attractive looking rack. I like to get some type of industrial looking rack that's got like a repurposed wood on it or something, something like that. We'll see. So here's my amp. Leave your comments below. If you have a Luxman, leave your comments below. Tell me how you like it. And I'll see you next week, and I'll get a formal review set up on this thing.